What's up, everybody? My name is Jason, and welcome to Breaking News. Reporters apply pressure as SBA class action lawsuit mounts. It is Wednesday, happy hump day, June the 9th, 2021. Please do me hit you ever give this video a thumbs up, hashtag Eidl with your comments below, and you got to follow me. Very important today on Twitter at TrySmallBiz. That's TrySmallBiz. Make sure you check out the post that I've shared and retweeted this afternoon. They're very, very important. That's at TrySmallBiz, username SmallBiz Inc., because I am absolutely positively going to be launching a website this month, which will turn into a mobile app, and we're going to help grow your small biz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what happened yesterday with the phone calls with Big Ben fucking Cardin's office and Jacky Rosen? What reporters are now stepping up to the plate, many of them for the first time, to blow the SBA story wide open? And if, or should I say when, we file a class action lawsuit, what is going to be our argument? I'm going to read all that to you and more, ladies and gentlemen. So pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, ice cold beer. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, before we go any further, let me start off with a warning. There's an epic amount of spam and scam in the comments. There's people that are cloning this face and my name and trying to tell you to send them $500, in some cases $1,000, over to Instagram, over to WhatsApp. It's all a scam. Do not ever write, email, text, call anyone in the comments. It's not me. It's a scam. They belong in jail. And even worse, I'd like to say exactly what I want to do to this motherfucker if I ever find out who it is. But stay away. Do not ever share your personal information. You do not need anyone's help in terms of being paid to get you the grant and or the loan, because it's not going to work. You're going to end up losing your personal information and some hard-earned money in the process. So once again, for the 10 millionth time, don't do that. All right, I'd like to start off by saying thank you to our good friends Speak and See and Robert Dunham. If you saw the video they did last night, it was over an hour and a half long, fellas. I watched it. I enjoyed every minute of it. Let me just say this right from the start. Folks, there's literally, and you can count them on one hand, 4 or 5, maybe a half a dozen of us on YouTube and Twitter that are creating content and fighting like hell. We're writing, we're calling, we're emailing, we're doing videos, we're tweeting up a fucking storm in an effort to try to get you the 10 grand, regardless of size, location, or credit score, $2 million caps, 24 months of capital, and yes, the fucking loan forgiven so you don't pay the SBA a dime. And there is, in fact, both in the Senate with Big Ben Cardin, actually Big Ben fucking Cardin, and members of the Problem Solvers Caucus in the House that have publicly spoken up over the last 2 or 3 weeks about getting the Eidl loan forgiven, at least partially based on economic loss, which is something I've been fighting for now for over a year. However, it's absolutely mind-boggling, and those two guys pointed it out yesterday as a result of the conversation with some of Rosen and Cardin's people, how fucking clueless they are at the top. Big Ben fucking Cardin runs the Senate Committee for Small Business now that Marco Polo has been thrown overboard, and thank God for that. But he's as, if not as bad as his predecessor. And Miss Javita Carranza is about on par with Miss Isabel Guzman. I thought she was going to be the Holy Grail, and I still think she has decent intentions at heart. But all you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is look at the data. The fact that they've only funded $159,000 out of 10 million that got an application or an invitation in 4.5 months of the targeted Eidl advance, and at the rate they're going to exhaust the loan money, which is $260 billion, we're talking about 7 years to get through the money. But as we learned yesterday through this phone conversation, and once again, Robert Dunham, if you don't know him, he's on Twitter nonstop, day and night. The guy has a family, just as Speak does. So do I. There's nothing special about any one of us. We're all trying in our own way to get you this fucking money, and short of filing a class action lawsuit, which I'm going to outline here in a second as to what our argument is likely to be, we've tried everything. And it's really amazing when you hear guys like Ben Cardin say, well, I was unaware of the fact that only 50 of the live venues, you know, Chuck Schumer's pet project, out of 13,000 that applied, have actually gotten their money in over 4 months. Do you realize that? There was a guy, and I think it's Steven Tyler, not of Aerosmith, but he's on Twitter all the time. This guy's hanging on by a thread. He's losing millions of dollars. And even though the economy's starting to open up and he's starting to generate some revenue once again, he can't get anyone on the fucking phone at the SBA 4 months in to answer why his multi-million-dollar application for live venue grants has not been funded or even given 1 ounce of direction as to what the fucking holdup is. But then you talk to Ben Cardin's people, and I have to say, some of his and Jacky Rosen's people have good intentions. The problem is the very high at the top of the scale, if you will, Chuck Schumer and Cardin, and to some extent Jacky, although I think she does a better job of any of those three, including John Cornyn, they're insulated. They really don't know how fucking bad it is at the SBA. And that's why, short of filing a class action lawsuit, we're being led down a road where we have no other choice. And a lawyer said to me the other day, he says, is this just a PR stunt? And at this point, to some extent it is. Because we have no real hardcore case other than what I'm going to read to you out loud here in a second in terms of a possible angle that we have to win. The America First Legal Foundation that beat the SBA in court a couple of weeks ago with respect to the Restaurant Revitalization Fund honed in on the isolation of veterans, women, and minorities and the fact that they were pushing white guys to the back of the line. That is government-sponsored class warfare. In respect to the American Rescue Plan and Section 331, which is the low-income community targeted Eidl advance, there is no screening out of women, minorities, and our great veterans. Thank you for serving this country. So what are we going to sue for? More importantly, do we have a chance to win? And in my honest opinion, based on a lot of legal experts I've talked to, believe me, in the last month or two, we have a small chance of winning in the court of law. The reason we would do this is to create one hell of a PR nightmare for the SBA. And here's the honest to God's truth, ladies and gentlemen. What you're watching right now has hurt me to some extent with respect to my other business. I started remote sales in April of 2019. And when you come on and go scorched earth for 14 months and you drop an average of about a dozen F-bombs every single video, you can only imagine some of the business that I've scared away. But as I said, I don't give a shit if I have to live in a van down by the river and eat 10 ramen noodles, 10 for $1 right now at Walmart, because if you spike them with a can of tuna and a bag of frozen peas, it's an excellent $2.55 meal. Being a single man who has no kids, I'm willing to roll that dice. But what I'm really waiting for is the launch of Try Small Biz. When we launch the website, there's going to be a small investment. There'll be a free option with limited, bells and whistles. But the full-on paid membership, which will probably just be an annual, going to be a couple $100 a year. We're talking about 50 cents a day. What is that? $15 or thereabouts a month. If you think that's a lot of money for your small business, I'm sorry I can't help you. But most people are going to realize you can put me on the payroll for a couple $100 a year. You're damn right you're going to experience one gigantic fucking ROI over the next 1, 3, 5, 10 years and beyond. But I need to launch the site and see how strong you guys are. Not me. I know I'm going to bring everything I can to the table. But what about you? We have 67,000 subscribers, but how many are going to step forward, join, and invest $200? If we could get 1,000 to do that in the first month, and I could flush my other business down the toilet if necessary, I'm prepared to do that. Because when and if we file this class action lawsuit that I'm going to read out loud in a second, it's scorch earth, baby. I'm going on radio, and that includes AM. I'm going to go on every fucking blog, all these reporters that I'm going to start pointing you to, one in particular this afternoon. I'm going to get them all. Patrick Terpstra, I'm coming to Washington, D.C., and you and I are going to sit down for a 30-minute fucking fiasco on what is exactly going on in the SBA. But I have to launch this business and have confidence in you guys to come through. Because if nobody joins and nobody pays, I have no shot of going fucking scorched earth and risking my other company to go down in flames because nobody really cares about filing the lawsuit except for me, Robert, Speak and See, and maybe, 500 or 600 other people. But if it goes as I anticipate it could, we could recruit probably 20,000 of the 67,000 subs in the largest class action in SBA history. And even if we lose, the PR fucking nightmare that I'm going to put that administration through is going to be epic. It's going to be historic. They've never seen anything so relentless in this whole fucking life. So without further ado, let me point you to Danny Romero. She wants to hear from you. If you've got a story, if you've been denied, if you're still waiting, and again, I don't put this in the comments because people are going to think, you know, when they clone me that it's okay to do this. So write this down. Grab a pen. Danny, D-A-N-I, Romero, R-O-M-E-R-O, at VerizonMedia.com. She's a Yahoo reporter. She wants your horror stories. So just like we did with Patrick Terpstra, you need to email, and this is on my wall on my Twitter page today, Danny, D-A-N-I, R-O-M-E-R-O, at VerizonMedia.com. Email her everything. Tell her how fucking long you've been waiting, how you got shafted, how the SBA is full of shit, and they're destroying your business with all these stupid rules and delays. I want to give you somebody else, so bear with me, and then I'm going to read out loud a potential angle on a lawsuit. There's another guy. You've seen me talk to him. Andrew Giambrone. Andrew, G-I-A-M-B-R-O-N-E. He's put out some amazing news along with Patrick Terpstra, pointing out the fact, for one, that it's supposed to be approved and or paid within 21 days. We have some people waiting 4 fucking months to get their money. That is a violation of the law. And the more people we get like Andrew and Danny and Patrick, etc., the more chance we have of blowing this story wide open. All right, in the remaining time I have, moving as quickly as I possibly can, I want to once again thank Robert Dunham, who helped put this angle together. Speak and See, who's done fantastic work, both on Twitter and especially on YouTube, and 4 or 5 unsung heroes that are constantly working behind the scenes. Here's a possible angle for a class action lawsuit. I'm going to read this out loud, so follow closely. Bear with me, I know. The Equal Protection Clause, as provided by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, asserts that government laws should be made in a manner which protects people equally. They're certainly not doing that with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund under the law. A notion that is reinforced in the Civil Rights Act of 1866. Yes, follow me. You want an angle that we can possibly win in court? This is it. As to make clear that laws made in preference of one group can have ramifications for the rest of society. So to the nature of our complaint, that would be us, those that are filing the class action, we have 2 contentions. Number 1, the targeted Eidl advance, as directed by the SBA, disenfranchises business on the merit of promoting, quote, underserved businesses, right? We've heard them say that. We need to support underserved businesses. Okay, fair enough. Represented by the IRS low-income zone definitions over businesses which may qualify under equal terms. So they're obviously treating certain segments of society unequally versus others. Under what I just read to you, it's supposed to be equal. So let me back up and say that again. The targeted Eidl advance, as directed by the SBA, disenfranchises businesses on the merits of promoting underserved businesses represented by the IRS low-income zone, those are the purple zones, over businesses which may qualify under equal terms, but are denied due to not being in the IRS low-income zone. I know that's a mouthful. Watch this video 3 or 4 times. Underserved businesses, I continue, as defined by underrepresented minority groups, there's the class warfare, were thought to reside in certain census tracts representing areas of 20% poverty levels or more. So that's the whole, if you're in the purple zone, you're in low income. If you're on the other side of the street within a stone's fucking throw, you're considered ineligible for what is supposed to be equally served businesses based on what I might call economic need. The second point that we could have as a possible angle is the targeted Eidl advance, as directed by the SBA, disenfranchises businesses in IRS low-income zones through poor policy procedure implementation, questionable contractor practices, and wait times exceeding 21 days of mandatory time. All right, that's a mouthful. But that last or second point, and let me read it again. The targeted Eidl advance, as directed by the SBA, disenfranchises businesses in IRS low-income zones through poor policy procedure implementation. Those are the ridiculous delays and insane declines, right? You're dead, but you're actually alive. You're late on child support, but you never had children. Questionable contractor practices. In other words, they can't read the income ledger. How many of you have sent me a fucking email to all you investigative reporters where it clearly shows from April and May of 2019 to the same 2 months consecutive in 2020, I can see with my third grade math a 50 to 75% loss, but some contractor who has no experience says, oh, you didn't suffer a sufficient economic loss. So it's questionable contractor practices and wait times exceeding the 21-day mandated times. In other words, the law states clearly you were supposed to get your money and or given a reason for decline, and I still haven't gotten a reason for my decline for my targeted Eidl advance. The SBA admitted that a month ago, they declined over 600,000 in one batch. Many of you didn't get an email. So, in other words, whether it's the wait times they broke the law on, whether it's these contractors who have no fucking clue, whether it's the fact that you're literally 50 yards away from a so-called zone, which may or may not be correct based on 2021 standards, those are two possible angles that we can use in a class action lawsuit against the SBA. Personally, I'd rather raise as much fucking hell as possible and not have to go this route, ladies and gentlemen, because when I put my name on this and I start ranting and raving and recruiting tens of thousands of people, I have to be prepared to see my other business go right down in fucking flames. The only way I'm going to be comfortable doing that is if we have a decent law firm that can get behind what I just read out loud to you, and you guys show up in big numbers in the next 2 weeks when I launch this website. You do both of that, we get a law firm that knows what the fuck they're doing, preferably one with SBA experience, and then you're going to see a show like you've never seen before. So until next time, I appreciate you sticking with me for just under 17 minutes. Always remember, I love each and every single one of you, and thank you so much for watching.